Rugby, New Zealand.
Bon venna, haere mai, ni hao, hola, g'day. You've reached the office of the Race Relations Commission. If you'd like to dob in a racist, redneck or neo-Nazi, press 1. If you described your new neighbour as a swarthy cow and accused her of stealing your wheelie bin, even though you later found it behind that red van that's usually parked on the other side of the street, press 2. If you'd like to challenge Dame Susan Devoy to a mixed-race, mixed-doubles squash game, press 3. If you're worried about increased immigration and the resulting rise in house prices, infrastructure stress, and basically question the whole ideology of constant growth, not to mention the place of tangata whenua against this onslaught of imported capital, but don't want to be lumped in with all the other racists, press 4. Press 5 if you work for the Labour Party and have become obsessed with people who have Chinese-sounding names, even though you love yum cha and own 3 investment properties in East Auckland. Press 6 if you have a Chinese-sounding name and are on the run from the Chinese government, but are also good friends with John Key and unsure as to why he's stopped taking your calls. Press 7 if you're a middle-aged white male who feels put upon by everyone, even though deep down you know that your ancestors shafted and enslaved half the planet. So really, what goes around comes around, but mainly you're pissed off that you hung on to your zero shares, even though Mohammed from accounts advised you to sell them. Press 8 if you've ever asked a taxi driver where he was from originally, before drunkenly banging on about cricket, ISIS and samosas. If you have a thick foreign accent, please hang up now.
You're back with Ken Oath,
the voice of reason.
Well, the bloke in question had one of those thick foreign accents. I could tell that he was angry, but what he was on about, that remains a mystery. My Range Rover was largely unscathed, but the man's Nissan Bluebird, well, she was a write-off. Technically, the crash was my fault, and yes, I had a few vinos at lunch, but I was far from over the limit. As it turned out, the man's English was so bad, he was unable to provide a clear description of my vehicle, and I haven't heard a dicky bird from the cops, who quite frankly shouldn't be wasting their time on this sort of victimless crime. So, getting back to my main point, I have to agree with myself. Basic language skills are so important, and we're letting people into this country who can't even report a simple hit and run. Go ahead, caller. Angela, is it?
Yes, Ken, I think you are right about the foreigners, but not all are bad people. I think this issue is not a new one. We can go back to the boat people. If we didn't let them in the first place, we wouldn't be having this trouble now.
You make a very good point, Angela. The boat people. What a terrible mistake. Tell me, where are you from, Angela?
Oh, originally from Tauranga, but before that, Canterbury. But we moved up to Auckland. Now we're in Herne Bay. Actually, Mr. Cunliffe from the Labour Communists. He lives next door.
Yes, but I mean, where are you from originally?
Oh, we come over 1976 from Vietnam on a boat.
Hang on, let me unpack this. You're telling me that the boat people are the problem, and you are, if I'm not mistaken, a boat person, but you say all the problems in New Zealand began with the boat people. Sounds a bit double Dutch to me, Angela.
Yes, and if you go back far enough, it was a Dutchman. Abel Tasman, he did come on the boat, but they turned back. The real problems obviously began with original boat people, who came with Captain Cook in his boat, and they took the land from the Maoris. You just have to look at the statistics now, and it's where all the problems began. Pretty obvious, really. Join the dots. You don't have to be a rocket scientist.
Angela, you can't compare Captain Cook and his men to boat people. That's just,
Well, they came on a boat.
Yes.
They were uninvited.
Yes.
And they ruined the lives of the locals.
Somewhat, but they are not boat people. And I'll tell you why after the break.
Kim, we've done our ads for the hour. You're just going to have to keep going, mate.
Okay, I'll tell you why right now. Angela? Okay, the Endeavour was a ship. And as far as I know, the term ship people is not an actual part of the Queen's English, Angela, or indeed whatever your real name is. Back in a mo. Go ahead.